We're live.
Yeah, it's turned on.
Yeah, where it's green. And it'll still pick you up, but not as well.
Okay, we are ready. Take that as a yes. Good evening and welcome to the Grant County Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for August 3rd, 2026. If you would, all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if you would, please at this time silence your cell phones so we don't have any interruptions. And Mr. Glancy, when you're ready, would you give us a roll call for attendance?
Michael Duke,
Here.
Andy Ellis. Here. Lois Jones.
Here.
Chad Kirkpatrick.
Here.
Sandra Rowan.
Here.
Wilbur Webb.
Here.
Ed Hartman.
Here. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes for June 1st, 2026 regular meeting. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second by Mr. Ellis and Ms. Rowan. Would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Michael Duke,
Aye.
Andy Ellis,
Yes.
Lois Jones,
Yes.
Chad Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Sandra Rowan,
Yes.
Wilbur Webb,
Yes.
Ed Hartman.
Motion passed. Thank you. Next would be for the July 6th executive session meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
We have a first by Mr. Duke.
Second.
Is that you, Chad? Wilbur? We have a second by Mr. Webb. Would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Michael Duke,
Aye.
Andy Ellis,
Abstain.
Lois Jones,
Yes.
Chad Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Sandra Rowan,
Yes.
Wilbur Webb.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passed. And also on July 6th, the regular meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move to accept the meetings as written.
Second.
Okay. We have a first and a second from Chad Kirkpatrick and Michael Duke. We have a roll call vote, please.
Michael Duke,
Aye.
Andy Ellis, abstain. Lois Jones,
Yes.
Chad Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Sandra Rowan,
Yes.
Wilbur Webb.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you. Okay, number 4 On the agenda is approval of findings of fact for docket 018-26 Rebel Cell Tower. Okay, on this here, we got all your findings of fact. I went through them and decided on a summary for us to present. We also had a split decision, so this summary will support the findings that passed that decision. If that makes sense to everybody. So those would be the findings that we'll be using. Okay, now we'll just kind of go through them here quickly. On the first question is for public safety, morals, general welfare. The establishment, maintenance, or operation of special exception will not be detrimental to or endanger public health, safety, morals, or general welfare. And as a side note, property values are a part of general welfare. One of the facts supporting that this was not satisfied was the impact to property values of 10 to 30% were cited from a survey by the National Institute for Science, Law, and Public Policy. And another was National Board of Realtors survey claimed 7 to 20% reduction in value. That would be our first finding that we would have. The next one, for number 2 on the findings, would be the special exception will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity. Reason being, neighbors have a nature view from their property, and the tower as planned would disrupt that view. Towers may be damaged, fall in severe weather, even though it is supposed to collapse inward. Sometimes they don't. That could cause harm. That's supported finding for number 2. Finding for number 3. Was the special exception will not impede or substantially alter normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding permitted uses. That finding was satisfied. No applicable comment needed on the standard nature of 100 by 100 foot leased area being considered as an impediment to other development in the general vicinity of the proposed siting. So that one was satisfied. Now, and I'll remind everyone that only one of these points can be, so to speak, is needed to be not satisfied for this special exception to pass. Okay, so any one of these points that would be not satisfied is enough to turn it down. Okay, point number 4. Finding number 4, utilities, access roads, drainage, and necessary facilities. Finding adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. That one was satisfied. Adequacy of power, utility, access roads, drainage, and the watershed are evident. Other necessary facilities are presented in the engineering schematics. So that one was satisfied as well for number 4. Number 5, ingress, egress, and traffic. Adequate measures have been or will be taken for ingress and egress to minimize traffic congestion on public roads. That one was satisfied. The note was the construction of this structure siding can be laid out to allow relatively safe and orderly access to the proposed tower and support facilities if constructed. That one was satisfied. Okay, and number 6. Was permitted district and area-wide zoning ordinance compliance. The special exception is located in a district where the use is permitted and all other applicable Grant County area-wide zoning ordinance requirements will be met. That was not satisfied. The selected site does not comply with all required setbacks according to the Grant County area-wide zoning ordinance. 270 feet from the street right-of-way or site boundaries is the ordinance, and 540 feet from residential property line. Those are the 6 points that I summarized in our findings of fact. And at this point, I'll call for a motion to either approve or not approve these findings. And if you want to discuss, that's good too. Maybe we should start with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have something on, number one, the findings. So we decided with this that it was detrimental to property values. But in the past, we've decided it was not. So is that contradictory to what we've already decided on the
In a
different site?
in a previous case, in a previous tower.
Correct.
I guess I was pulling from the facts presented in this public hearing.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I just
and
want,
we may not have had this good a testimony or on
and the
previous
we didn't have
hearing.
anybody, and we had
to
nobody,
support that.
yeah, no neighbors showed up
Yeah.
either.
Right.
So,
So
okay, I just want to see
Yeah.
the difference in that.
that's a good question though. Is there any other board deliberations, discussion?
I would ask the question that, given that I've sat through a number of these meetings in 2024, 2025, I do not recall ever there being a discussion of findings of fact and voting upon it. And if it happened and it was not in a meeting or I was asleep and missed it, I would stand corrected, but is
No,
this-
you're correct.
is this a new
It has
procedure?
been a long time since we've approved findings of fact. And one of the reasons for this is that attorney for the cell tower company has requested these findings of ours. So we felt that we had to get them in order and present a findings of fact summary to them.
Okay, then a follow-up question is that, we each individually filled out a findings of, well, first I'll make kind of an
Right.
assessment of us finding in our own individual judgments, we have, and what we heard, we filled out the form.
Right.
And what I reacted to and judged might be different than Mr. Kirkpatrick would have written up.
Correct.
And what Ms. Rowan would have written up.
Yeah,
But we each so there's individual sheets of finding of fact.
absolutely right.
And those will be preserved in our record, I would assume.
I would assume so too, yes, because I got copies.
So because, we all got the individual copies in our packet here.
Correct.
How does, for preparing a summary, because this is where my difficulty was in dealing with putting finding of fact on the docket, was that
Yes.
because we have individuals' judgments that, we based our vote upon. No one person other than me, for how I judged, can articulate my basis for my vote.
Right.
Nobody else is going to be able to. So I guess in my view, each finding of fact stands, by Mr. Kirkpatrick, Mr. Webb, Mr. Jones, Mr. Hartman, Mr. Ellis, Ms. Rowan, where all you have individual findings of fact there. So I'm not questioning a summary, but if it's preserved in the record, will that be something that the attorney for the cell tower company is going to be demanding to see, or is he just going to be seeing the summary finding of fact?
Well, we're going to send them the summary. Now,
Well,
the question is, can they demand the individual ones? I don't know the answer to that. But I will say that all of what I read was from what we wrote. Okay, either myself, you, or people who supported the motion. I did not take anything from people that did not support the motion.
and what I heard you summarize
would not fit.
is consistent. Yeah.
And some of them, when you interpret what the question is that you're answering, I thought some of them were not quite answered correctly. Just, maybe lack of familiarity with it or whatever. It didn't seem to support, so I didn't use them. I chose the best one of the four that voted for it. Thought I chose the best answer.
Okay.
That's the one
Is that
we would want to
defensible?
put forward.
I'm sorry.
As the one we would want to put forward.
As a full body.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of look at this new procedure.
Yeah.
Is kind of where I'm coming from, and what's a good way to do it? Because that's my
It would either be that or we send them all in. And then I got a feeling some of the negatives wouldn't be helpful.
Can I help
Or
with
some of
Mr.
the
Hartman?
confusion would be helpful. Yes, go ahead.
So what Mr. Hartman is suggesting is the court, and this probably will end up in court, they will appeal this decision. The court will look at the board's finding of facts, not each individual finding of facts. So what Mr. Hartman is saying is he has compiled them based on his, as the chairman, and he's put the list together, and then you'll vote on or amend or whatever you want to do based on individual. But once you vote on these findings, and those become the official findings. I don't know if the individual findings are discoverable or not. I've not run into that before. It's an interesting question, but your action is voting on the findings which Mr. Hartman read. Those become your official findings, and then those are the first thing the court will review when they look at this decision.
And according to APA guidelines, findings could be written by the office based on what we submitted or someone else. Findings could be written by the petitioner. But there's nothing requiring you to make them your findings. Like Mr. Glickfield said, you can amend, vote to approve, vote to deny, or not approve, and try it again next month.
Well,
So it's our decision as to going forward here.
Just so we understand what the process is we're dealing with. And
And one more thing, Mike. Another reason this has been done is, as Mr. Hartman's aware, I've been mentioning for the whole time I've been attorney, we've got to make sure these are done, especially on cell tower cases, especially when there's a denial, because those are the ones most ripe for appeal. Those are the ones where the biggest chance you have in court, where you've got to have those findings of facts. And Mr. Hartman, as long as I've been here, has just taken it upon himself to go ahead and summarize and do it. It hasn't become an issue because the one case that a cell tower denial that was appealed, that eventually got negotiated out and was fixed, so we didn't, although we were in court, it got resolved. This one I anticipate, based on the emails I'm seeing from the attorney to Mr. Clancy, it appears they're building their file to go ahead and take it to court. So I think Mr. Hartman is trying to make sure that the right procedure is followed. And so that is why this is probably the first time this has happened, because he's anticipating the same thing I've anticipated. I don't want to speak for you, Ed, but I'm assuming that's what your thought process is.
Well, when I heard the attorney requested them, I thought there's a reason. So we might as well get ready.
I hope that helps.
I don't want this to be taken in my questions to say I'm disagreeing. I'm wanting to understand, and have clarity on the process.
Sure.
And why we're doing it this way, because in my unexperienced way of dealing with this issue, my conception of if we had this on the docket, it would be to say, yeah, we have the findings of fact. Here are all 6 documents. Yeah, we see them and we acknowledge that they have been completed. So that would be as far as I would have conceived it being taken.
And then my guess would be the court would order it to be sent back, have 1 findings of fact voted on and approved by the board.
And that would be defensible and arguable by the attorney representing the county if it did end up before a judge.
Well, I would be the one handling it since I represent agency.
I'm being general, but yeah,
Yes.
you.
Yeah, and yes, that's why I'm very happy to see it done this way, actually. Because it is defensible, and it puts us in a position where now we're arguing the specifics of the findings. They've been summarized, and you voted on them as a board, and then these are the official findings.
Another reason I wanted to do this was because in a previous court case, we submitted all our findings as fact, and they were sent back to us by the judge. They were remanded back for more clarity. So I kind of thought, well, let's put our best foot forward this time.
Okay.
If I may, I see both points. Absolutely see both points. But I guess I am to Mike's point that do we preserve the finding of facts so to make sure that we've got something that's traceable? I mean, to me, it makes sense to be able to take everything and make sure that it is compiled, that represents what our position is, because we do operate as a group. And we make decisions based on everybody's input and not an individual. So taking them and compiling them, I think, makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, I think it is important to make sure and preserve documents. And I'm not sure it always has been that way. But I think that it's important to do that. So that's my thought.
I want to go on record as saying that what I heard you summarize that is consistent with the way I was seeing some things. And you know, I'm not saying, that's why I said I don't want my comments to be taken as negative, because in the end, Ed's summarization is consistent with my assessment. I may have gotten down to more of the weeds, more specific granularity in a couple of cases, but you're at a general level, you are summarizing my particular finding of fact.
Yeah, and I think we do keep the record that shows which ones were chosen to put in the summary. Yeah, I'm fine with that. And I intended to turn those into Todd so they'd be kept.
So we need to make a motion to approve those.
Yes, if you're ready for a motion, we'll entertain one.
I'll make that a motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Webb. Do we
I'll
have a
second.
second? By Mr. Duke. Could you give us a roll call vote, please?
Could we restate the motion?
To accept the findings of fact, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. As written, I guess.
Is summarized.
As presented.
Thank you.
as presented, as summarized by Mr. Hartman's reading of the content of the document. Okay, still okay with that?
I'm fine with that. Could you give us a roll call vote, Mr. Glancy?
Michael Duke,
Aye.
Andy Ellis,
Yes.
Lois Jones,
Yes.
Chad Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Sandra Rowan,
Yes.
Wilbur Webb.
Yes.
Motion passed. Okay, moving on, number 5, new business, public hearing docket 021-26, setback variance to 10 feet from side yard, Shiloh Park Retreat, 1734 South, 350 East Marion, Indiana, 46953. If someone representing the petition will come forward, we'll begin a public hearing.
If you come to the podium, please, sir.
Yes, if you would. And sign in up there on the sheet.
My name is Mike Rutsch. I'm an architect and design collaborative. Our office is based in Fort Wayne. And we're the architectural engineering firm that was working with Shiloh Park in the design of the expansion of their facility.
I need to mention the rules for the hearing are that you'll get 15 minutes to present your petition. There will be 25 minutes for any opposition to present evidence, and then you'll have a follow-up 10 minutes to rebut that. And that you talk to us and not engaging anyone from any opposition, and they'll do the same.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this project involves an addition to one of their existing buildings. The existing building has their large dining hall facility that's part of their youth camp. It also has a large chapel space that they use as part of the retreats. Their program is growing, so they're looking to expand and accommodate more. The addition involves expanding and creating a second chapel space to accommodate additional youth and their growing program. We've taken the opportunity as part of this program, or part of the addition, to also bring the building up to current building code. The original building was built, I think, in the early 70s, which kind of predated a lot of the current modern building codes. So, for instance, we've addressed ADA accessibility, a lot of other features in the project. The addition involves, it's on the north side of the building, and so it extends towards the north property line. It includes immediately, the first part of the addition is an exit corridor that's required. Then there's the chapel space in behind that, along with an expansion of restroom facilities. So the building is in much need of additional restrooms. The ones they have there aren't quite adequate for what they have now. And with the expansion, we're bringing it up to code in terms of what the state requires for plumbing fixture counts, for instance. So to meet their program requirements, there's a certain amount of space that was involved in that addition. We've tried to compress that as much as we could, but in the end, we were crossing over that 15-foot setback by about a foot and a half. So the variance was written for a 10-foot setback, but the reality in the drawing exhibit that was included, it shows it's about a foot and a half of encroachment. And that's on the northeast corner of the building, where the building's not quite parallel with the building, so it's the northeast corner that has the greatest encroachment that you see in that exhibit. The existing property line is well-defined. There's a fence that runs right along the property line, and then there's a mature tree line. That's very dense, and in the summer, you can't even really see through that to the next property. The property next to it has a residence that's about 700 feet away, I believe, and there's also an access drive that they have that's just on the other side of that tree line that leads back into their property to the residence. I think the intent is that the existing fence, the existing tree line would remain as the buffer between the two. And we don't see the addition being a problem with maintaining that. So.
Okay. I think that's it for now. Okay.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike, correct? Questions?
Go ahead.
And it was probably just a matter of opinion, but what I saw was it was more than a foot and a half. But if you're a foot and a half over the setback, we're less than 5 feet.
Yeah, and it can be reduced. Not sure exactly why it was written that way. Our civil engineer actually wrote it. I think it could be just what's needed. I mean, any plus. Usually working in the construction world, yes, there's always some tolerance we try to incorporate. Because things
I understand, I'm not trying to draw a line in the sand,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the math doesn't add up.
Yeah, so it could be reduced. I think the shown is at 13.9. I think it shows on that exhibit.
That's what it says.
So yeah, it could. We don't necessarily would need the 10 foot, but it could be reduced.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone here opposed to this petition? If you would, come forward now. Hearing none. Does the board have any questions on this to the petitioner?
Is this the same center? Is this the center that we had previously a while back?
No.
No, this is
This is a different
Okay.
location. That was on down the road.
Yeah, okay.
Same road, but just on down a little ways. I think it's one you're thinking of.
Yeah,
Okay,
Covenant Place,
yeah.
is that the one you're
yeah, I think
thinking
it
of?
was, yeah.
Yeah, that's on up the road, another
Half mile.
3/8 of a mile.
Okay.
Is that the size of the building?
What's that?
What's this, did you say what size the building is going to be?
I don't believe he said what size. Oh, you mean the total building
Yeah.
after added
Yeah.
on to, or?
Yep.
Yes, Mike, could you come back up and there may be a couple questions for you here. The question was, what's the total size of the building going to be after the addition?
Let me grab my drawing.
Okay.
total size will be 23,270 square feet. The building addition is 3,291 square feet. 3,291 square feet.
So the new total will be 23,270?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any other questions? You said you were bringing it up. Is it, will it have a sprinkler system in it now?
It will not have a sprinkler system.
Will not?
No. We have a state variance that was
You have a
approved.
state variance for this?
Yeah, well.
Is that in the form of a commercial design release?
Yes, we have the release and there was an approval. We took a different strategy to provide fire protection in lieu of the sprinkler system. Because they don't have a water supply system there, they just have well water.
Okay.
So,
Are there any other questions from the board? Smoke detectors and alarms? Okay. And you said it was ADA approved now?
correct.
Okay.
And
Yes, Sandra?
I have one question. The area behind that new addition,
Mhm.
there's room for vehicles to get through if need be?
Yeah, yes. There's not a paved, we are adding a drive along the east side for fire department access, but it's not required to go along the back side.
But if there were like a problem with plumbing and somebody needed to get in there, there would still be access?
Yes.
If I could take that a little further, there'd be access from the edge of the new building to the asphalt, which is the property. That's the property line where the asphalt is at. That's the 10-foot you're requesting. Or I mean, I should say the 13.9 foot that you're saying it's going to be, but in the 10 foot, you're looking at where on the, where's that property line, that demarcation between the adjacent property and your
Fence. Did you not say there's
There's a fence there.
You say there was a fence there.
And a driveway on the other side of the fence, though.
And there's asphalt immediately on the other side of the fence. And there's a row of trees or foliage down through there where that fence line is at.
Yeah, it's really right under the blue line, pretty much, is where the trees are on your picture.
I'm going by the schematic more so the
Yeah.
picture was really kind of unclear to me. And you're confident that that's where the property line is at then?
Yeah, we did have a licensed surveyor that surveyed and certified that.
Certified it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Any public comment? You may be seated, sir. Okay, hearing none. Any further board deliberations or discussion? If and when you're ready, I'll entertain a motion.
Alarm going off?
They will probably shut that off soon.
Well, they did.
I apologize,
Okay.
it is silenced, I think it's just the pool alarm for the kids, so. Yeah, apologies.
We are allowed as a body to put, I don't want to call it conditions, maybe it is conditions, but if anything they could do with that setback, I think it's been pointed out that it's pretty tight through there, and that we could optimize that so that they don't grab more property and make that tighter. I mean, I don't want them to be put in a position where they accidentally are put too this far or this way, but at the same time, I'm not sure that it has to be 10 feet, my point.
Right. He shows it really reducing down to 13.9 from 15. Is that correct?
Correct.
So got 3.5 foot of plate at 10, huh?
Yeah.
Really just 10%. But there could be, like you said, overruns, right?
Yeah. It's not a whole lot of room. A lot of parking spaces are 10 feet wide. Some are 9, but 10 feet has become a little more standard. But it's not a whole lot of room, but it is, it may be adequate. That's the decision that we've got to make. It's going from 15 to 13.9, so it's
Going from 13
reducing
to, I
a
thought it was
foot.
going from 15 to 10.
Well, actually, he shows it as being 13.9, but he's requesting a larger amount of variance, but not intending to use it.
Right.
Am I summarizing that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay. So he's reducing it by a foot and 1/10 of a foot, which is not a whole lot more, a little more than an inch. Anyway.
I'll make the motion that we approve the variances they've asked for.
Okay. We have a motion to approve from Mr. Kirkpatrick.
I second.
We have a second from Ms. Rowan. When you're ready, Mr. Clancy, you can give us a roll call.
So just to be clear, the motion is to approve the requested variance?
Yes.
Okay. Michael Duke,
Aye.
Andy Ellis,
Yes.
Lois Jones,
Yeah.
Chad Kirkpatrick,
Yes.
Sandra Rowan,
Yes.
Wilbur Webb.
Yes, sir.
Motion passed. Okay. Next on the agenda is we have it down here as a public hearing for special exception for mineral extraction, borrow pit activity, topsoil removal, and related land storage, material stockpiling at Jack Heimlich's location on 7380 South, 825 East, Upland, Indiana. And before we get started on that, I think the board needs to deliberate a little bit on this, and that this has been gone on for years by this board, and we are still at a point where we have not had the necessary requirements met to qualify for a special exception. So hearing for one does, in my opinion, not make sense. We've not been submitted the required permits to do mineral extraction, to have an open dump. Dumping has continued out there for years, since about 2019. And dumping was recently noticed out there and documented in July, I believe. And so we've not really gotten anywhere with this. And in the previous meeting, you all voted to petition that this be stopped by the courts, and it through an injunction. And Mr. Glickfield has filed that. So at this time, I would like to hear from the board, and if you so wish, we will strike this from the agenda as far as a special exception, because it just can't, in my mind, and I'll hear your opinions, of course, but in my mind, we can't give a special exception here. It just doesn't make sense to go forward. but I'm willing to listen to you all, and I want to hear your opinions. Sandra?
I'm in agreement with you. As I was reading through this document, it was like, why are we even looking at it if they haven't perfected the document with the filing by all of the meeting all the requirements? Any other requests for special exception or anything from this board would have to consist of all of the requirements being met before we would be able to vote on it and approve it or disapprove it. So why would this be any different?
Man,
Hang on a minute.
okay.
I really want to hear from the board on this.
I guess I'd be interested to know exactly what permits he has in order to be able to operate it as is with his existing, you know. I mean, I think a lot of us are familiar with the area, and it was a quarry for as long as I remember.
On the adjacent property.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, so we've got, understood. So, I just wonder whether or not he's got anything, because a special exception means that he's met part of the standard, but not all of the standard. So, I'm not sure that he has permit to do anything that he's doing with regards to dumping and that type of thing.
Yeah, and Mr. Clancy, has there been any recent update that you've received in the way of permits?
No, I have not received up to today, but certainly not by the deadline of July 15th for this meeting, any information of approved permitting from NDOT. We have application, but not an approved application. They applied for borrow pit, which is really not a borrow pit, but it's borrow pit / disposal site. And so, no, I have not received any other documentation. There's been conversations, but no documentation to support any of the activity. And I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just saying this office has been asking for it and has not received it at this point. And if I may address Mr. Owen's question on how do we get to this point was, the public made the APC aware of this well before I entered office. And then coming into the office, ascertaining what the situation was the best I could at the time and trying to get things to happen and get some movement on it. This is a complicated matter, and getting a special exception and the expertise on board to go after this. I may have been a little more enthusiastic than I should have been and placed it in front of the board without it being complete. And so normally, or at this point, I have a complete package and would not bring something to the APC or the BZA if it was missing some, like the cell towers we've all seen. If they're missing a section of information and I see it, then it doesn't go before the board and they have to wait another month. And maybe I should have went down that. So I'll take some of that responsibility of getting us to where we're at today, whether that's a positive thing or a negative thing. We're moving something forward and having a discussion about it and have made some progress, but probably not as much progress as everyone would like. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that's kind of a history of where we've been.
Maybe not a question, but maybe there is a question in here. But the timeline on this started back in 2025 with, what was it? Was it August or was it December when there was an official docket that was put on for consideration prior to any of a number of us not being here? But just recognizing that, I recall from sitting out in the audience, listening to this subject being talked about in 2025, and then up here is that representation occurred for the Heimlich Company by way of an attorney, as well as a representative engineer from Randall Miller and Associates. I think it's Jason Miller that was the engineer that was in here. And representations were made at that time to the board when there had already been a stop order put in place. Was that, well, we'll follow up on it. We'll do an evaluation. We'll do a survey. I mean, I'm not giving you the exact technical terms here, but the representation was made by at least the engineer, that there would be a plan brought back to the BZA so that the docket could be continued, with the implication docket could be continued. But nothing ever came back to the board, as I can recall. So were we being ignored? Or what were the circumstances that occurred that were causing that commitment at the time to bring a plan forth as to how to deal with this, never showing back up here? Having said that is, okay, lots happened. I mean, a lot was said, nothing happened. And as recently as a couple of months ago, we have a neighbor that comes to us, to the APC or the area plan, saying, I have pictures showing dumping still happening out there when there was a stop order that's been in place for a long time. So patience wears thin with that kind of a chain of events, and I've probably not done a great job of accurately saying every particular detail in that chain. So I'm hesitant to look favorably. But the practical side of me says there's a big pile of tailings and stuff out there in a tract of land that was never approved for that use. So what do we do? What's next? If we, I would not vote to approve a special exception at this point in time, given that kind of history. But I'd still have to ask what's next, because we have a big problem. The county has a big problem sitting out there that affects the community of the neighbors in the adjacent areas. I guess in total, my question is, what's next? And I've vented my frustration here with how we are positioned on this issue.
Yes, and it's a question of, could we even entertain a special exception for this? Now, we could entertain a landfill special exception, which a landfill is a disposal site employing an engineering method of disposing solid waste in a manner that minimizes environmental hazards by spreading, compacting to the smallest volume, and applying cover material over all exposed waste at the end of each operating day. That's not done here. A borrow pit is any place or premises where dirt, soil, sand, gravel, or other material is removed below the grade of surrounding land for any purpose other than that necessary and incidental to site grading or building construction. So a borrow pit is like when you dig down and you take the clay out and you move that clay to your construction site so that you'll have a solid building site of clay and not topsoil. And then the pit would probably be refilled with the topsoil that you graded off of your building site. That's a common use for a borrow pit. There wasn't a hole dug out there to put this concrete or millings and whatever other trash from construction projects were put out there at the same time. And the definition of a dump is a waste disposal site where waste is deposited without cover material being applied at regular intervals. Open dump for purposes of environmental management laws means the consolidation of solid waste from one or more sources, or the disposal of solid waste at a single disposal site that does not fill the requirements of a sanitary landfill or other land disposal method as prescribed by law or regulations, and is established and maintained without cover, which this is without cover, without regard to the possibilities of contamination of surface or subsurface water resources. And another thing you will find with a landfill site is that it's engineered and it has usually a plastic cover under it so that chemicals and disposal materials do not leach out into the groundwater or surface waters. Now, the definition of what's been going on out there most totally to a T fits an open dump, not a borrow pit, not a landfill. And on our zone table, we do not have a special exception for an open dump. We have mineral extraction, borrow pit, topsoil removal, and the like. But that doesn't fit what's been going on out there. And we also have a special exception for a landfill or garbage disposal facility. And a landfill is properly engineered. This was not. This was an open dump. We've seen it. So, in my estimation, and summing this up, I don't see how we can grant a special exception for this activity. And we've already chosen the path of enforcement with an injunction. I would think we would want to move that along as speedily as possible. But I want to hear from you.
I think you're correct on everything, but I also don't think we should move forward as far as the special exception, because first of all, there's been no compliance from any of the Heimlich people. So what are we basing, just waiting for? We've had like a year of this stuff, you know, so let's end this.
Yeah, and don't forget, we've had more than one stop work order ignored. And activity continued.
I think we need to go, you said we've got the court order for putting in for the court.
We're asking for a court
Yes,
to
let's get that
intervene
and
and place an injunction
Yeah,
to stop the dumping.
yeah, just stop it completely until they get compliant, and we've heard from the court to
And then,
say which way we're gonna go. Because if you keep going, we're gonna come back here every month with the same people. And we wanna stop it, you know, these people that own property and things, nobody wants to live beside a dump.
well, where this is located, it doesn't fit with the setbacks that are required either.
Okay,
And it's right up against a small stream.
right,
Not a good location.
right.
So really, I would see us pushing to the next step of this needs to be removed.
Let's take that step.
I may just have a solution. I don't want to, I am the attorney that just hired on the matter that may simplify it for you guys. We actually wanted
You wanna come to the podium?
to remove.
Yeah, come on up to the podium.
Yes, I'm sorry. My name is Michael Haas. I'm an attorney here in town, just across the street. And didn't mean to jump in, but I really do have a solution. If Jason is obviously hired, we just had Joe Certain died about a month ago, and so they've been a little bit of a rudderless ship. I was just retained last week, so I'm kind of coming in the middle of this. I've talked to Mr. Glancy. He's been very accommodating to help us out with documentation. Heck, I didn't even get a whole file from the previous council, so. That was kind of the conclusion we came to a little bit earlier this week, actually, is that it's not really right to come before you. And so we want a motion to withdraw the petition, voluntarily. We're just not being, just being deficient. There's a petition before you, but it doesn't have all the requisite documents, the summary that Mr. Glancy gave, of things that's just not there for a mining special exceptions are not there. So we're going to voluntarily just move to withdraw the petition altogether.
Okay, we have no argument with that. Sandra?
So if you withdraw the petition, then what's to stop them from trying to work around the barrier, the injunction that we requested to stop the dumping?
Yeah, certainly good question. Appreciate that. And obviously we'll talk to Mr. Glickfield and comply with any sort of injunctions there. But, as I talked to Mr. Glancy and Mr. Miller, today is that we have no issue with dumping on that site there. I know there's facts, and there are probably people here today to say that dumping's continued on there. Obviously, I'm the guy that was hired last week. But talking to the kind of office manager, Mr. Heimlich, he's 91, his wife just died last week. He actually had a medical emergency and almost died on the property, and one of the pieces of equipment almost drowned just not too long ago. So a little bit of a mess in that family to be coming in there. But from the office manager, there is no sort of, what you guys call dumping going on in that section that is concerned about. It's been cordoned off. I said, hey, they said there's videos. The best she could tell was that back in, I think, February, when these stop work orders were coming through, she had a hip replacement, or somebody in the office did, and there was a Friday where they didn't man the shop, and we think that maybe Blackford County utility treatment came in and dumped something there. Somebody else came through. It's now blocked off now, and there shouldn't be any dumping going on in that location. So, yeah, we're fine with that from a compliance standpoint.
You know what Hartford City Water Department was dumping there?
She indicated somewhere in February. Might have been some.
I mean, what are they dumping there?
The best estimation would be they might have had some sort of utility main that broke, and sort of breaking up the concrete there. You have to dispose of somewhere. So
no chemicals?
Not to my knowledge, any chemicals. Yeah.
I reached out to them; they wouldn't reply. I was just wondering.
Yeah, and my understanding, again, that's why we wanted to withdraw a petition today, because I want to give you answers that I can stand behind and know all the facts for. I think that's in any. I think Mr. Quick will testify to that. But for a body, you want to make sure you know what you're talking about. But my understanding is they pay per ton for that type of refuge to be disposed of. So I think they probably had an ongoing agreement to be in the area from the come on location, and that's probably one of those ones that slipped through. So our intention is to continue to work from it. There's a compliance ongoing matter, even outside of this petition that we're drawing. There is an ongoing compliance, and we're gonna continue to have conversations with Mr. Glancy. We had one today for probably an hour and a half at his office, so we'll continue to do that to see if we can work things out. And that's the normal course of dealings, even when litigation's filed. Right? Is that we're gonna try to figure out some sort of compromise if we can.
Okay, does anybody have anything else in the board here?
So they've got it blocked off so nobody can enter, or?
Yeah, the county, yes, ma'am. So I don't know what county road that is. Mr. Miller probably knows. It's the north there, but
825 East is
700.
has been blocked for quite a while, but 700 is their main entrance
is that the main?
where they've been going in.
That's the actual
The north entrance is the access to the property now.
through the quarry.
Correct.
Okay. So to my understanding, there's only one way in, which is actually the place where you buy materials from. So they'd have to go through that. There's like a one way that snakes around. So to the public, that would not be open. It would be essentially a trespasser. But I think the way people were getting in was from that that other section down the road.
Well, recently, they've been going in through the main entrance because the other entrance has been blocked for about 7 or 8 months.
So we have these non-compliant people to that extent, so
It'd be people that knew their way.
knew their way back there, yeah. They didn't, understand that that's no longer open, accessible, so. And I think fortunately, probably that's what you have when you have areas that people can take stuff to is, it's like an open trash container. We've all seen those people stop by, just throw things in, right? So, but that's something I'll pass back on to them. I've not physically been able to I got to the site today to kind of see the main operation, but did not get all the way back into look at that. And that's something we talked to Mr. Glancy about, understanding more what's back there and what it looks like. So definitely, I guess what I'm conveying to you is that withdrawing this is not that we're just going to ignore the compliance issue that's been brought to our attention. We're going to take the steps. And I think we talked to Mr. Clancy, kind of have a game plan about that, what that would look like going forward. And obviously been talking to Mr. Glickfield since this last week on this.
Well, we're going to need for a lot of that to be removed to get compliant. So they'll need to develop a plan of taking that material, whatever it is, to a legal landfill and disposing of it correctly.
Yeah, certainly. And I can't represent that. I know exactly, what's there. My understanding is there is tremendous value in what is there. At least certain aspects. For example, I guess the Upland, road, that can be crushed and sold off as aggregate, $8 to $10 a ton. A little bit cheaper than like $28 for limestone. So if things have steel in them, there's a process to remove that. And metal extraction.
Imagine there's a sorting process there for sure.
Yeah, there is actually.
I was up there one time, quite some time ago, when it was first becoming to our attention, and there were building materials disposed of in there from building sites around Upland, I presume, and other stuff.
Yes, sir.
We don't know what it is, of course. It's been left there.
Yeah, certainly.
So there's going to be a sorting process to get the.
I would imagine. I think the site was many years in operation, so definitely it's been utilized by the community. So, but yeah, that's kind of the exploration process that we're kind of in to understand it more.
These are all nice words.
Yeah.
Excuse me for sounding like I'm a hard-backed person, but I'm going to advocate for the residents that live around that property. And they have a mountain of debris that's sitting out there that wasn't there at one point in time when their view field has been contaminated. What will be done and how quickly will it be done is the question, I think, that is pertinent to the issue of the area plan office in enforcement in restoring the view field for the residents of that area that are affected. And life happens. I have sympathy for circumstances, but we're dealing with a hard fact of probably what was once a very beautiful area that has been violated. How can it be made right, or what will be done now to make it right? And it needs to be done with expedition, or expedite. That's what I think at this moment in time, sir.
Yes. Other opinions from the board or questions?
The withdrawing of the special exception doesn't change the process that's already in place, right? With the injunction.
Yes.
So
We need the
that'd be my
injunction.
thought.
I would say we need a plan quickly of how that material is going to be moved out of here. And I would like to see that next month, or we will push to get a plan through the court system if possible of when that's expected to be gone.
And perhaps some.
And it didn't take a long time really to be put there. And it can get out of there a whole lot faster than it went in if the right contractors are hired to get it out of there. Sandra, you had something to say?
Right, the plan, I think, needs to include some kind of tentative timeframe.
Yes.
Yes.
As a process question, if the exception petition is removed,
Yes.
it's no longer before the Board of Zoning Appeals. Does this issue then revert back to the Area Plan Commission? And until
The Board of
some-
Zoning Appeals can take an action, and they have taken an action. So I would say we're at liberty to follow through on it and not push it off to someone else. Because we've been
So we
hearing about
retain
this
the
for a
issue.
couple of years. Yeah. But you all would have to make that decision. Which may include fines. Fines for violating a stop work order add up quickly. So if there's anything else, or not anything else,
I don't know exactly how to word this, so
Okay.
help me out here. But the general thought would be, I would make a motion that the board require Heimlich, where the legal name of the quarry operation is Heimlich, Jack Heimlich Quarry Incorporated.
Jack Heimlich Gravel Company Incorporated.
Incorporated.
Yes.
And/or Jack Heimlich and his representative bring to the BZA next month, at our next meeting, a plan.
Yes.
As complete as possible as to the steps to take to begin the reclamation or the removal process of that mountain of debris that is out there.
Right. To get it
And
in
restore
compliance.
the tract of land back to its original or as close to original condition as possible, in order to keep this moving along and not, and keep some pressure on the issue,
Right.
expecting that there be more than compliance, but a lot of action on the part of the parties. Attorney.
Can I try to help with this in some legal perspective?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
just to bring everyone up to speed, after our last meeting, I was asked to file for injunctive relief. This is actually a two-step process. The board wanted the injunctive relief to get the dumping stopped immediately. So we filed a very extensive petition with the court requesting that. Step two then becomes the enforcement with what you're referring to and what Mr. Hartman had talked about in the past as the board retaining some jurisdiction over the enforcement of this. So in discussions with Mr. Glancy, Mr. Hotz, who has just come on board, I think their goal is to provide some kind of a plan, because we always have that power then to file that second lawsuit or add to this lawsuit the enforcement activity. In other words, the violations they have, and what are we going to do about those violations? How are we going to get this fixed? That option is there for us should we need to continue down that path. So that is step two. We've laid the groundwork out for that in the current lawsuit. So I don't know if certainly a motion, I don't know if that's necessary. I know there's going to be meetings with Mr. Glancy and he can report back what the plan will be on that to you. Because once you say, we're not satisfied, let's go ahead and get the enforcement activity going, then we could do that also. I don't know if that helps clarify where you're trying to go or not, Mr. Duke.
You're saying, I'm hearing you say that we keep it as an agenda item on our docket
Yeah, you
each
can.
month for a progress report, and if there's not adequate action, then
Then we go forward.
go to the,
To step two, excuse me.
and like I said, I don't know what the right way to say it is or how to structure it, but it's to keep forward progress on getting the pile of debris removed and however that happens, and then restoring the,
I just have it as an agenda item.
if we can do that, make
Yeah.
that a process.
I think Mr. Hartman can control that, ask for
I'm
that.
okay with that.
I might want to point out that patience has brought us nothing,
I'm not saying anything here in the board of patience.
and that we not put this off, but that we, if not this meeting, possibly the next one, we make a motion that we're going to go for. We are going to get a plan, or we are going to court as quickly as possible.
I've got a question.
Yes.
So we want them to come in and start putting that wall up or whatever for to do that. In the meantime, there's trucks are going to think, well, they're doing it, so we're going to keep coming, bringing dump trucks in. Now, how are you going to separate these people thinking that this place is closed to them, but yes, you know, you're doing the work, so how do you, maybe I'm not saying that right.
I'm not sure I understand.
So what I'm saying is,
How do we stop it?
yeah, you say you have to stop work on it for these guys not to come in. Okay, then you're gonna have some guys here, you know, supposedly to take care of our agenda for them to get this.
Is your question, how are we gonna confirm that they're not continuing?
Yes.
That's what I think.
Yes,
that was.
yes.
So I've thought about that, and what I was intending to do when we went to court is, and I don't want to get too much into discussing legal strategy in an open public hearing. It's generally never a good idea. But I was gonna ask for at least monthly inspections where staff, someone from the office could go out and take pictures every month to make sure there's no additions, that sort of thing. In other words, we'll start with a starting point.
Right.
These pictures are of this date.
Right.
And then, you know, Mr. Glancy or whoever his designee is goes out and each month.
Okay.
And that's part of our court order to make sure that there's no new additions. That's how I was gonna
Yeah,
approach it.
that's where I was going.
I hope that answers your question.
In kind of reaction to and following on with what Lois is saying, it would make sense to me that a large sign of 4x8 size or larger be posted at the entrance to the property from 825 where there's a barrier down, but also an exact duplicate of that sign at the access road from the Heimlich quarry
Yeah,
that goes back into this tract to put on notice and chain it off
right.
so that it's evident if somebody goes back in there and they have violated. And they're
If it's blocked off, though, is it necessary to have a sign? Because if you can't get through it, you don't.
how people move things.
Yeah, I would like to expand on that. If you have a sign up, because I was thinking exactly the same thing, and normally something like that would work right away, but we're at a little bit of an impasse, kind of. We're trying to get over that. A large sign that says violators will be prosecuted for dumping might get rid of the complicity, right? So the person that's driving the truck knows that perhaps he shouldn't be doing this. Right now, once they get in and they get out, they're not too concerned about it.
Yeah. And at this point, my concern is not so much to stop the dumping, because I think it's going to stop with a court order. I would pray that that happens. My concern is that we set in place when we want to plan and when it's going to begin and when the removal's going to start and how many loads are going to go per day. And I'm not thinking a small number. I'm thinking contractors that are able to do this and do it quickly. So, and I think that needs to be presented very soon, because otherwise we're just waiting another month and another month and another month. We've waited for 2 years, month by month, and seen nothing happening. And I'm thinking there is no point in waiting.
I've got one more thing.
Yes.
The sign that Mr. Ellis is talking about, a lot of times when you say that it's going to be enforced, but it's a lot different when it says we're taking pictures, you're on camera. Nobody
by
wants
court
to-
order.
Yeah, on a court order. You put that sign that says, all people that come through here are going to be recorded. And that changes the narrative real quick. Even though you may not have a camera.
Anyway, we have passed our time. It is 7:20. If someone wants to make a motion,
I'll make a motion.
entertain a motion that we make a motion for getting that moved and getting a plan submitted to us at the next meeting. If anyone would like to make that motion.
I'll make that motion that we make sure they've got plans, that we can start the procedure
Of moving
of moving that dirt and getting everybody in compliant. And also with a sign that says, you are prosecuted and you are on video. For you to trespass on this property. It makes a big difference.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
To be clear, could the motion be to continue the public hearing?
No.
No,
The
So we don't
motion
want to
be to get
continue
a
the
plan.
public hearing?
To get a plan from the defendant, Jack Heimlich Gravel Company, of moving that product out of there. We'd like to have a plan in 30 days. That's the
I'll
motion.
second.
We have a second from Mr. Duke. Would you give us a roll call vote, please, Mr. Clancy?
Second, Bose Jones, primary. Just to restate the motion, to be
Go ahead.
clear. Is for a plan to move the material off the property.
Property to a legal site.
Is that mine? Sorry,
You said a time limit on it.
a lot of people are attending, so I think we're good. I don't know what the noise is. Okay.
Internet disconnected.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. It's trying to reconnect, and if you look at the Wi-Fi, it's not connected.
Okay.
So it might be worth closing.